Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here, and welcome to another video on Dungeon Universalis. And in this video I'm going to create a character, probably just one. I was thinking of two, but it might take too long. We'll see. Dungeon Universalis has the most robust character creation I've ever seen in a board game. It doesn't rival most RPGs. It's probably more robust than some, more simple RPGs. But as far as board games go, I've never seen a game that has this amount of customization and the number of options that you can use to create your characters. Maybe there are some out there. I'm not saying that this is the most robust one, but it is the most robust that I have played. So I'm going to play a game eventually with two characters and a mercenary. So I've already decided that my two characters are going to hire this elf mercenary, and she's going to be kind of my my ranged character, kind of my all-arounder. She'll be able to have a short bow and a broadsword. She has sharp senses, and this particular mercenary can perform exploration actions, which means that she can open doors, search for traps, open treasure, and that kind of thing. So she is going to be part of my party as a mercenary. I'm going to pick two other characters, and I've chosen two sets of classes from the group of classes here. So these are all the classes that I'm not going to be using right now. And one of the characters is going to be from this set here. So one of the characters is either going to be a witch hunter, a warrior monk, or a paladin. And I know that I want one of my characters to be a human. So I've went ahead and I've organized the characters by their alignment, because good aligned characters cannot be in the same party as evil. You could probably house rule that and do whichever you want, but I'll stick to that rule. So these are the good characters. There aren't very many straight up good races. There are quite a few of the neutral races, and I was really surprised by how many evil races there are. Oscar, do you are you really into evil characters or something? I mean, this is like usually the evil characters get the short end of the stick, but this game piles them on. So maybe it's better for creating interesting like evil NPCs for campaigns or something. But I think this first character that we're going to play is going to be one of the neutrals, and he or she is going to be a human. So now I need to determine what the class is. So if you look at your character sheet here, or your race card, it's going to tell you what your different stats are, what their initial attribute is, and then the maximum that you can increase. And then here it's going to tell you how many, what do they call them, development points it costs to raise that by 1. Each new character starts with a development points of 8, and as you spend them they go down. So if I wanted to raise my movement from 5 to 6, it would cost me 2 development points. Some of the characters, most of the characters I should say, have a do not come with an innate magic ability or mana ability, but they do allow you to boost the amount of mana provided by your class. So for instance, right here, if I were to choose the warrior monk, I would begin with 4 mana. Unfortunately, humans can't boost their innate mana ability, so I would just be stuck with 4 points of mana. Most characters that can increase their mana have a +2 in this box here for the maximum, and most of them I believe have 1 ability cost, 1 development point cost, meaning that they can spend 1 point to increase their mana by 1, and then 2 points to increase their mana by 2, and that would be the maximum. So if I could do that, then my warrior monk would start with 6 points of mana rather than 4. But that's a moot point because humans can't do that. Humans are versatile and balanced. They begin with the skill Lost in the Dark. So Lost in the Dark, some of the skills are actually negative things. And Lost in the Dark means that, you know, they have a disadvantage in the dark because some races will, they don't have that. They have, you know, the natural ability to see in the dark. And so you don't have to worry about that with those races, probably like elves and dark elves and stuff. But Lost in the Dark means that if I am ever in a dark situation, I will have a penalty as a human. So that's one of the racial qualities of the humans. They don't operate well in darkness. And then I get to choose, or I will get to have one more skill based on my class. And the skills that the classes can use are listed up here. And you would roll a d6, and that determines which of the 3 combat, what is that, leadership, I believe, and like subterfuge, that kind of stuff. So additionally, see, they may learn the skill lycanthropy, so they could be werewolves. In that case, they get 2 fewer points. So you could be a human werewolf as well as a class, a human werewolf witch hunter. Okay, that's kind of cool. But I'm not going to do that. And so I'm going to keep my fate points at 6. So remember, fate is a way, kind of like an advanced hero quest. It's kind of a get out of jail card. You can use that to or to re-roll certain rolls and to get out of a pickle, or to prevent yourself from dying. So I think they're called fortune points here. So fortune, it's very important. That is your natural armor, your natural toughness. Any armor you wear gets added to that, but some attacks like poison or something like that, or conditional attacks, they will only worry about your natural armor. So some races have a stronger natural ability to defend against certain things. You have your combat value. That's every time you want to make a combat check, you're going to add that value to your die roll. Your strength determines your damage with melee weapons. That is your ranged attack, like your combat value, that's your range value. You're going to add that to any ranged attacks you do. That is your agility. That is your intelligence, which usually has to do more with casting spells. Your mana, your courage, and then your overall vitality, your overall health. One thing to keep in mind is how much stuff they can carry. I believe that was a combination of your strength and your vitality multiplied by 2, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. Yes, that is correct. It is the combination of your strength and vitality multiplied by 2. So that's how much gear you can carry on you, whether it's equipped or in your backpack. So looking at these, the cool thing about paladins is you can be good or evil paladins, because I was thinking of pairing this human up with a renegade dwarf. And so if you're a paladin, the first increase in your combat value costs 1 less. You are -1 to all dexterity checks. So dexterity and perception are interesting in this game, in the sense that they are not racial traits. They are only affected by some classes or some skills. Most of the time, you're going to have a 0 in each, meaning that when you take a dexterous action or a action that has to do with perception, you're not going to have any modifiers to that roll. Paladins will start with a -1, so they won't be very dexterous. That makes sense because they're more concerned about having heavy armor and being tanks. Or do I want to be a witch hunter or a warrior monk? So warrior monks are kind of interesting. They hate the underworld. They have battle wizard skills. They begin with 4 points of mana, So they're not very, they can't cast a lot of spells. Most spells cost 1 point of mana. Some spells cost 2 points of mana. Each spell in the game can only be cast 3 times during a single quest. He can't wear heavy armor. And he won't be able to use ranged or throwing weapons. So he can wear heavy armor, but if he does, he can't use ranged or throwing weapons. He can't use uncommon weapons or armor, only common or magic. Some of the weapons that you can buy are considered uncommon, like a repeating crossbow or something like that. Any increases of your strength or vitality require 1 more point than usual, and can't use any components for magic. Mana potion, magic wands, or magic staves. I don't know what a battle wizard is. I want to see that. So that is one of the scholarly and leadership skills here. Let's see. Battle. What is it? Battle. Begins with battle wizard. So unless this class allows for more options, character may use light armor and a common weapon. His mana points can exceed the intelligence value. If the character's class didn't initially include this skill, characters will suffer -1 penalty to casting. The same penalty applies to those equipping heavy armor. Okay, so this is just kind of like giving you the rules of what a battle wizard is. All of these little icons, once you create your character, you never really have to worry about these until you level up. These are just showing which class symbols can use that skill. So the warrior monk's class symbol is there, and it is located there on the card. So that's all those icons mean. They're not like giving you rules that you have to obey while you're playing the game and constantly looking at those. I was a little scared when I was looking through the game at first, seeing all these little icons on these skill cards, but all they determine is who can use and learn that particular skill. So I don't think I'm going to play a warrior monk. I think I'm going to be a human paladin, and I might be a champion of the gods of evil. I want to see what that is. So champions of the god of evil. Okay, so if a character is of evil alignment, he may learn a spell from the underworld lore or from corruption, inner fire. He may cast each spell only once per game. In order to do so, he must pass a courage roll. So the paladin will use his courage to cast a spell rather than his intelligence. He may learn new spells among those above as if they were new skills. So, but in order to be a champion of evil, I do have to be an evil race. So maybe I will have my Renegade Dwarf, actually. Let's see, where's the Renegade Dwarf? I think I'm going to have my Renegade Dwarf be a paladin and the champion of... he's going to be a champion of the gods of evil. Okay. So I don't need this Lost in the Dark for him. So let's look at the dwarfs. All right, they're slow, they're dexterous, have low agility. They begin the game with the skills Tough, Cruel, and Skilled Hands. All right, so let's find Tough and Cruel. Tough and Cruel are combat skills. Tough. And where's Cruel? Cruel. And then they also have the Skilled Hands, which is a subterfuge. I have a feeling that that just adds... probably adds 1 to my dexterity bonus for picking locks and that kind of thing. Skilled Hands, yep. characters get a +1 to their dexterity bonus. So he will be good at picking locks, opening doors, that kind of thing. Probably, and disarming traps. Cruel. After hitting an enemy during a melee attack or casting a damage spell, character may repeat one result of 1. This is kind of the use of the word repeat in this game is probably a literal translation faux pas, I guess you could say. They mean reroll. So on this, I can re-roll the result of a 1. I don't want to repeat the result of 1. I don't want to like fail twice. So repeat means re-roll. So you can re-roll the result of a 1 on a damage roll. So when you roll your damage, if you roll low, if you roll a 1, you can repeat. So that's cool. And that is a skill that has to be used. Tough. Character gets +1 whenever he rolls to avoid conditions of stun, disease, and poison. One of the neat things about this game is all of the conditions basically have the same detriment. They just depends on how you get rid of them. He also gets a +1 to his recovery rolls. So you have a recovery roll every phase, and his natural armor is increased by 1. So he's like naturally tough. He's better at avoiding stunned, diseased, and poison. He's better at recovering from those. And he gets his natural armor increased, which his natural armor is 3. So he's going to have a natural armor of 4. Okay, so Renegade Dwarf there. He is a paladin. He begins the game with the skill, the champion of the gods of evil. So I may learn a spell from the underworld lore or from corruption. He may cast each spell. Okay, I'm gonna look at corruption. I want to look at inner fire. So let's find the spells here. Giant spells. Although, okay, let's see. Let's look at underworld. I want to see what those are. What was it? Underworld and corruption. I'll take both of those out. Runic, musical skills, underworld. Okay, so there's underworld. And corruption. Where's the corruption? Witchcraft, corruption. There we go. That was the one that had the exploding entrails spell that I like so much. Okay, so I can learn one of these. So I can learn Favor of the Gods, or in this one I can Marshy Ground or Inner Fire. Inner Fire and Marshy Ground. Okay, so Marshy Ground costs 1 to use. But I don't have any mana. Let's see. He may cast each spell only. Okay, so I can cast it without using mana. In order to do so, I must do a roll. So this is kind of like these are like innate spells that are part of this Champions of the Gods of Evil. So I can cast each one once per game. All squares within the spell's area of attack are regarded as difficult terrain, or choose a target. He suffers 4 damage against natural armor. Okay, so that is definitely in the running. Just a full-on damage spell. Or I can take Favor of the Gods or Regeneration. Favor of the Gods. Man, the art on some of these spell cards is just freaking awesome. Or Regeneration. Now let's see. Choose a friendly character. He gets the skill, so he gets a healing. Or Favor of the Gods. Caster praise his gods for help and rolls a d6. Caster and all friendly characters suffer damage. Your gods say no. 2 to 6. If in a combat turn, caster and all other allies in the spell's area of attack recover 1 lost vitality point and 1 lost mana. So you got a pretty good chance of healing 1 vitality in an AoE of 6. But I think I'm going to go ahead and take this Inner Fire because it is a full-on damage spell. And that sounds more fun to me. Okay, so we have our Renegade Dwarven Paladin. Actually, so according to the book, has some suggested combinations The Renegade Dwarf is not suggested to be a paladin, but because I chose the Champion of the Gods of Evil, I'm going to allow that for this character. It says that the combinations, since Dungeon Universalis is intended to be a game system that allows an enormous number of options and is applicable to many different universes, we have tried to represent almost all possible combinations. However, there are a number of classes preferred for each race, when keeping in mind the background world of Araska. So that's okay. I am just going to ignore that. This is my custom character, my Renegade Dwarf Paladin. He's a champion of the gods of evil. He has these skills, and he has this spell that he can cast once per game without using any mana. And then he is going to, let's see here. I need to do my ability points. So I have 8 ability points or development points, and what do I want him to be? So he is going to have, I'm going to increase my combat by, I'm going to increase that by 1. So from a 3 to a 4. And my first increase is 1 less, so that only cost me 1. And then I do want to allow him to be able to move up to 5. So I'm going to do that at 5. So from 4 to 5, that's going to cost me 2. I don't really worry about him using ranged weapons, so I'm going to keep his range at a 3. I do want him to be able to, let's see here. His natural armor is 3, but I get a bonus for being tough. So that's going to be a 4. You put a slash there, and then you put however your armor adds to that. I do want to increase his courage to 5. I do want to increase his vitality to 6. So I have 2 development points left. I'm going to increase his strength to 4. Everything else is going to be his minimum. So a 2, a 4. Okay. His fate points, or his fortune points, is 4. He has a +1 to his dexterity, so I can put that away. So that's a +1. He doesn't have any bonuses to his perception. He is tough. I'm going to write that down here. This one I will probably keep out. He is cruel. I will keep that out. Actually, his natural armor is only increased by 1 against certain things. So I'm not going to increase that here on the character sheet. I will just have to keep that out. So his natural armor is just going to be a 3. Okay. So there's that. So the final thing that you have to do is you have to buy your starting equipment. And starting equipment, you get 30 or 20 coins. And you got to look at the, let's see here. Common objects. And the armor. So we have $20 to spend here. I definitely want to get some armor. Leather armor. Studded armor. Scale. Chainmail. And look at that. I mean, the chainmail gives you a -1 to all kinds of things. Yoroi. That's a hard word to say. Yoroi armor. Looks like some samurai armor or something like that. Full armor. Man, that gives you a lot of penalties. So this symbol here is uncommon. You can start the game by buying uncommon. During the game, if you were to go into a town, you'd have to roll 2d6, and you'd have to meet, exceed that, or equal that in order to find that to buy. So it's harder to find. Let's see, what armor do I want? I think I'm going to take this studded armor. So that gives me a +1 armor. It's a light armor. -1 to, well, I would lose my -1 to the dexterity checks. Looks like almost all armor, you lose that plus to your dexterity. But that's fine. This is kind of an interesting. Maybe I'll just take this leather armor for now. +1 armor. I lose 1 to my agility. All right, I'll take that. I'm not going to use a shield. So let's see, that is, I have 16 left. I do want to buy some lock picking, I think. Let's see, where are those at? Pickaxes are nice for climbing. Where are those tools? A lantern might be nice. A rope might be nice. Maybe some beer. Picklocks. Let's see, where are those? So you can make bridges. And then let's see here. I don't want any ranged weapons for this guy. I want a big FU two-handed weapon here. So some kind of oh, that's only a one-handed, but that is a cool weapon. I cannot pronounce that word. Macuatl? Is that a like a Aztec weapon or something? Kind of like a stone mace, a studded stone mace. What? Where is a big old warhammer? Great sword, that might be nice. A katana. Battle axe, maybe a battle axe. There we go. Warhammer, that's what I want. So the interesting thing about weapons is some weapons do actually have a negative bonus to hit. However, that is usually offset by a negative bonus to the target's armor. So they're harder to hit with, but the chances of them doing damage are greater. And in this instance, equal or smaller sized targets are stunned in case of a critical hit. So he automatically stuns, and it can break shields. He gets a +1. His damage will be his strength value +1. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that warhammer. Okay, so I think everything is good for this character for now, at least for this video. I might go through some of the equipment and maybe modify that a bit. But let's see if I have enough gold for all this. So I already bought my leather armor. I have 16 left. There's 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so I have spent almost all of my gold. I can't give that 1 extra gold to another character. You have to spend it all on character creation. So I have 1 extra gold that I might go through the deck to spend. But let's see here. My leather armor gives me a -1 to my agility, bringing my agility down to 1. that might be something I regret. And I'm going to add a +1, so my armor is 4. Natural armor of 3. So total, I have a 5 movement. I have 4 attack. I have a 4 for strength, 3 for ranged, 1 agility, 4 intelligence, 5 courage, 6 health. No XP right now. I have 0 bonuses to my perception. I have a +1 bonus to my courage. I have 4 fortune points. Using my warhammer, I am actually at a -1. I'm not going to update that because this is my innate ability up here. Just when I use that, I have to remember to subtract 1. So let's take a look here. We can lay this guy out. So this is my character. I would do like this. I have my hands here. I'm wearing my armor. I don't have an accessory. All of these items go down here in my backpack. I have my spells and then my skills down here like that. So yeah, so that is my Dwarven Paladin. He's a champion of the god of evil. He can cast inner fire once per quest. He's wearing leather armor and he has a warhammer. So I need to think of a name for him. And I think his name will be Bartok. He is a dwarf. He is a paladin. And his total cost is 10 plus anything that adds to that from any of the items. I don't have any items that add anything to his total cost. I don't believe any of my skills add anything to his total cost. So his total value right now is 10. I believe that is correct. A hero's initial value points will be 10 as he gains experience points and invests them in improving his attributes and skills will increase and with them his value points. A hero's value points equals 10 plus the experience points invested in evolving the character. So that was character creation. As you can see, it's really in depth. You can spend a good amount of time really getting an interesting character. I would say feel free to ignore the suggested combinations. You probably will have better characters if you go with the suggested combinations. But for me, I'm going to be playing my own game, so I don't have any problem being a Renegade Dwarf Paladin. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, I am back. I just wanted to go over my second character that I created really quick and also mention that on Bartok, I forgot to subtract 1 from his dexterity for his negative of being a paladin. So he actually has 0 dexterity, which kind of defeats the purpose of him being that dwarf. So as you can see, the suggested combinations of race and class will probably give you better characters. But I had fun creating him, so we're going to keep him as he is. And since I did take those pick locks or the lock picking tools, I will still get a +1 sometimes. So, but this is my second character. My second character is a Shard Mind Wizard. And she's a female. She has these stats of 5 movement, 2 for attack, combat, 3 for strength, 3 for ranged. She has a 3 of a natural armor. She has a 4 agility, 5 intelligence. She starts with 10 mana points, 5 courage, and 4 health. She has a +0 to dexterity and perception, 6 fortune points. So she is, as her racial ability, they are immune to poison, disease, and offensive spells that cause damage against natural armor. So she has great natural armor. In addition to just her 3 there, she's actually immune to all of those. However, if any critical hits strike her, she does not get any benefits from any armor she is wearing. But that's not that big of a deal because I actually can't wear armor as a wizard. So if she takes any critical hits, nothing's going to be able to help her out there. But that's fine. She gets the Secrets of Magic. So in this game, when you are out on a quest and you find a magical object, a relic, a magic sword, a potion, that kind of thing, you have to be able to identify it before you can use its magical properties. if you find a magical sword and you can't identify it, you can still use it as like a good sword. It's actually a strong sword, meaning that it's harder to break when you fumble, but you won't be able to use its magical properties until somebody can identify it. As a wizard, as a Secrets of Magic, she can identify magical items while on a quest. And then she also, as a wizard, gets 4 random spells from one of the following schools of magic. I have chosen light, and I have these spells at random. You can pause to read them if you want. Holy Light, Blast of Light, Clairvoyance, and Sheltering Light. For her equipment, I bought her a staff and a dagger. Hopefully she will not be using those that often. I bought a couple healing herbs, a couple packs of provisions, and a torch. And then I used the rest of her money to go ahead and spend the 8 gold that it takes to hire the elf mercenary, which comes equipped with a broadsword, short bow, and leather armor. And the skill will be sharp senses. I need to look that up. So just wanted to come back and make that correction on the last character about his dexterity, and then show you real quick the second character that I created. All right, guys, this has been a character creation video for Dungeon Universalis. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.